A pleasant good evening and welcome to LNTV News Live. This is a 30-minute presentation of major news about Liberia and other parts of our one world. It's Monday, April 6, 2020. My name is ZOQUAY KONNEH anchoring this edition of the program. In our headlines, health authorities in Monrovia say Liberia now has 14 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Liberian Senate adjourns for 2-week Easter break. Liberia National Red Cross Society launches COVID-19 response with a call on Liberians to adhere to all measures to prevent further spread of the virus. And away from home, Libya's former interim Prime Minister Mahmoud Jebro dies of coronavirus in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. These stories plus many more developments are all coming up in the program LNTV News Live. We take a short break to be back with the faces of the newsmakers. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. Liberia has recorded another case of the coronavirus, bringing the cases in the country to 14. Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jala said the 14th case was recorded following the testing of several people suspected of having the virus. Dr. Jala spoke Monday at the Incident Management Team press conference at the Ministry of Health.
Let me talk to you this morning about the 3 deaths that we have. So when you look at 14 cases and 3 deaths, maybe your interpretation will be different. The 3 deaths, one of them died at home. That person was sick, did not know they had COVID-19 until they started having difficulty breathing in the house. By the time anybody could get there or before they could get to any facility, they had died. The other 2 cases, they got to the hospital when one of them was already in a coma, and then they were having difficulty breathing and they died. None of these cases reached the 14 military hospital to be cared for by our medical team. It's quite unfortunate that we remain in our homes for a long time before we seek care, and then when you get to care, it's late. COVID-19, the death rate is very low. But if you delay at home until you become critical, then there's nothing anybody can do for you.
The Incident Management Team, IMT, says there are 8 active cases and the death toll is still at 3. Liberia's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Francis Keita, said 661 contacts have been traced from the total confirmed cases in the country. He spoke Monday during the Incident Management Team regular press briefing at the Ministry of Health in Congo Town.
Out of the 661, we have 14. We have 353 of them that have completed their 14 days. So personally, there are about 308 contacts that we are. But as long as we have a new case, that case generates contact. So our field officers now have to go from place to place to make sure that we get all of these contacts, we land list them, and we follow them up. And those that are higher risk, we make sure that we take all of the precautionary measures so that we can get them to the right place. And if we get a sample from them and they are positive or negative, we take the next course of action. With that being said, today press conference is going to be very short because we have so much to do. And so We want to again inform the general population that it takes every one of us working together to make sure that we contain this. It doesn't matter how much resources we have, but if we do not work together and we go through the phase that we went through, prior to Ebola, when we first started Ebola, and what happens later on, we don't want to get to that place. We as Liberians should begin to set example because we know what Ebola did to us. And so please, it's an appeal to everyone to work along with us, from the religious leaders to government officials to everyone, the common citizen. Everyone have to work together so that.
The leadership of Liberia National Physicians Assistants Association of Liberia wants health workers investigate all clients seeking medication at their various health centers to prevent the health workers from contacting COVID-19. In a statement released in Painesville Monday, the association said as the number of COVID-19 cases increase in Liberia, not all contacts are known to health authorities, thereby calling on health workers to exercise care. The association's vice president, Wisia Wolopa, read the statement Monday in Painesville.
Notwithstanding, we still strongly believe that some may have been left untraced due to lack of information about their point of immediate contact and existence within Moserado and its environs. LIMPA being concerned about the well-being of our members and the general populace at this critical period, and knowing the virus is not a respecter of person, and the virus pose and the danger posed to the health workforce of Liberia from such public health crisis, we have decided to bring to your attention that amidst the current coronavirus pandemic in Liberia, let us use the past EVD crisis to remind ourselves about those common mistakes that got others infected. Let us remember our citizens depend largely on us for their health and safety at such moment in our history. Let us remember that not all the contact from the 13 cases will be easily traced, and it is our duty to investigate all clients seeking health services at our various health facilities about their contact and sound subjective of COVID-19.
In keeping with Senate Standing Rule 4, Section 3, the Liberian Senate Monday announced the closure of its session for the Easter break. The disclosure was made by the presiding officer, Senate Chairman on Executive Sir Joseph, following the adjournment of session.
The Senate leadership will continue to work, although we are closed today for the Easter break. We are going for Easter break, approximately going to be for 2 weeks. We resume officially back on the 20th of this same month, April. And I think the senators have been working very well, working very hard. And I think we should give them a break. Senators are also concerned what is happening in the country. They are following it. In fact, leadership will be also sitting down with the executive to know the plan of action of central government or what they're going to be doing. There are a lot of things to be concerned about. If you lock down the place, which county are you going to lock down? Moserado and Magibi. Don't also forget, other counties depend on Moserado County to survive. How do you take food commodities, gasoline to all of those counties? The welfare of our people. So if you're going to lock down, there are a lot of things you have to put in place. There should be water running. How do we have electricity running 24/7? These are all issues that were raised.
The Senate's Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget has reported to plenary loan agreements between Liberia and development partners. The loan agreements were sent by the President to House of Representatives before being forwarded to the Senate. Here is Senate Deputy Secretary Genevieve Masekwe reading the communications.
The Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget on a new agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the OPEC Fund for International Development, upgrading KONNEH Vonjima Road Project. Recommendation. The Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, after careful scrutiny of the loan instrument, a loan agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the OPEC Fund for International Development, upgrading of KONNEH Vonjima Road Project, recommends the plenary of the Liberian Senate that this agreement be ratified to help assist the development agenda of the government. Signed, Senator Peter Coleman, signed Senator Henry Yala, signed Senator George Tenway, signed Senator Matthew J., and signed by the chairman, Senator Maurice G. Situma.
The Liberia National Red Cross Society has launched its COVID-19 response activities in Liberia. The initiative is aimed at helping the Liberian government in a fight against the coronavirus. Speaking Monday at the launch, Red Cross President Jerome Clark called for support to enable the Red Cross carry out its mandate.
We have made several interventions ranging from the distribution of hand-washing buckets, dignity kits and other IPC materials aimed at promoting best hygiene practices. The interventions from the time of preparedness to response phase have directly been made using materials from our stock. At present, we continue to receive hundreds of requests from the communities and other vulnerable groups for support. The requests for food, non-food items, and IPC materials currently on our decks are 10 times more than we can afford at the moment because of the depletion of our stock. We need to quickly replenish, not to forsake the communities. But we are also overstretched because our donors, including countries that always help us, are also overwhelmed with this global pandemic, something which continues to limit our support for this response. We are extremely challenged, ladies and gentlemen. Even in the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has also made other existing humanitarian needs in the country more acute, further making the delivery of humanitarian aid more critical and urgent. Affected communities, populations to stay home, and people with special needs, including people with disabilities and vulnerabilities, are all really struggling and could be at even greater risk if nothing is done to address the pressing needs.
Also speaking was Christopher Johnson, National Society Development Program Focal Person on COVID-19, who said the intervention will help contain the virus.
We have made several interventions ranging from donation to distribution of infection prevention and control materials to the public and also to private institutions, including the WASH Commission of Liberia, the Monrovia Central Prison, the media, and the communities we serve, ranging from the distribution of hand-washing buckets to the distribution of dignity kits, thermometers, and other IPC materials. Before the pronouncement of Liberia's first 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases on March 16 and 17 respectively by the government of Liberia, the Liberian Red Cross has been working with its existing national and international structures and the government of Liberia through the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, the Ministry of Health, and the National Disaster Management Agency, the NDMA, to present a well-prepared national platform for response. We are part of the national coordination efforts, working with sector and pillar actors to provide preparedness and response support. In the preparedness phase of our planning, we have been able to mobilize our network of 3,500 community-based volunteers across the 15 counties through our chapter offices in the counties, trained up to 80 of them in Moserado and Magibi counties to date.
Well, if you have just joined us, this is a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, a 30-minute presentation of major news about Liberia and other parts of our one world. It's Monday, April 6, 2020. My name is ZOQUAY, BEYSOLOW, KONNEH, anchoring this edition of the program. Let's recap our top stories. Health authorities in Monrovia say Liberia now has 14 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Liberian Senate adjourns for 2-week Easter break. Liberia National Red Cross Society launches COVID-19 response activities with a call on Liberians to adhere to all measures to prevent further spread of the virus. And away from home, Libya's former interim Prime Minister Mahmoud Jibril dies of coronavirus in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. LNTV News Live takes a short break to be back with more developments. Please stay with us. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. A man who has been mentally challenged for 8 years is currently recovering from his illness after being prayed for by a Liberian prophet. The man, only identified as Rufus, was frequently seen around Elwa Hospital fence. Speaking to LNTV Monday in Painesville, Prophet Emmanuel Living Fire said Rufus developed his mental problem at age 27 before encountering him.
He said, pray for him. His time being here have overdue. Pray for him, let him be restored. And I went to him, I laid my hand on his head, and I prayed. After 15 minutes, I left him and I crossed the road. On my way coming, I was exhausted. So when I came that night, after praying 2 o'clock in the night, I dozed up to sleep for a little bit. Then I saw this man sitting on my side. And the Lord told me, he said, you see beside you? I said, yes. He said, that man need to be restored. So I'm giving you the task. Go and bring him out. His time are overdue.
Was that told you by him or
yes,
something you know?
Yes, he told me at the age of 27 he got married. And 8 years plus the 8 year, and now he's about 35 years old. Are you getting me? So he has spent 8 years on this madness. He's now, by the grace of God, the demon has left, but he has left with psychological problem that we need to see the psychiatry after the deliverance, that they can attend to him in that area, and he need to be treated as well. But the madness which kept him on one spot, by the grace of God, that spirit has left, and he's only going 14 days delivering by the grace of God. He speak to you sounds, and you ask him for his name, you call his name, you greet him, he will respond.
LNTV also had a conversation with the man only identified as Rufus.
You see that all the things are on the earth doing things. The other one and
they asking you, who wish you? They asking you, who wish you?
I don't know.
Where am I in your path? You still know them?
There, where are they?
Where am I?
I think all do man. mama ni na gate.
Where pani?
Pa ni na wele.
Public air nana.
All living to sing one place.
Where are they living?
We all living on the one place.
What a time.
Liberians from all walks of life are joining efforts with government in a fight against coronavirus in the country. Liberia now has 14 recorded confirmed cases with 3 deaths and several related contacts being traced. Former District 13 representative candidate Mama Kizel Sika has been visiting several communities in the district to distribute preventive materials and create awareness.
We're just here to add our voice to government and the international community that the coronavirus is very real. It's real, it's killing mankind. It's killing not just white people, it's killing black people. And it's in Liberia. They have already known. You see here, that the symptoms here of the coronavirus. Here, that the thing that you can do to avoid the coronavirus. So these are things that why we brought it on the feed. And we put it on. If you see somebody showing it in here, then you know already. They want you.
Agriculture Minister Jenny Cooper says government has endorsed plans to keep Liberia food secured during the COVID-19 global pandemic. According to Madam Cooper, this will involve the collective efforts of all farmers. She spoke to a team of journalists over the weekend in Monrovia.
So we looked at what stocks we already have in country, not only imported stocks, but cultivation stocks. We have probably 1,000 or 2,000. We produced in 2019 250,000 metric tons of rice, which is still only less than half of what we would consume in a full year. Some of that rice has been consumed, but there's quite a bit of it still available to come on the market. We have 723,000 metric tons of cassava. And we have been looking crop for crop, particularly for our staples, how we can manage this storm. And so we've come up with a plan, and this is a plan that has been endorsed by the government, and the president has given it his full support, that we should first gather, purchase, and process the rice and the cassava that we have available, and do a massive push for cultivating more rice and more cassava and more plantains and more vegetables and more palm oil and more poultry, and more fish, and more anything.
The Agricultural, Agro-Processing and Industrial Workers Union of Liberia Secretary General Edwin Cisco wants government prioritize the agriculture sector. According to Mr. Cisco, the agriculture sector of the country remains one of the most employable sectors, and it could boost the economy when given the needed attention. He made the disclosure over the weekend during a signing of a collective bargaining agreement between Agriculture Workers Union and the management of Golden Verulium.
We want to take this time to firstly admonish the parties for concluding these negotiations in the midst of a very tough economic situation that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 virus across the globe. We want to, at this time, make a particular reference to our national government, taking into consideration the agricultural sector of our country being the most employable section or most employable sector outside of government. We will want to take this time to encourage our government and urge our government to ensure that they do everything possible to render the agricultural sector viable in these very troubling times. We first want to thank the President of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador George Manuia, for appointing a very steward and practical Liberian to the post of Agriculture Minister. We can see from the very first 3 months of our engagement what we have been pushing over the years to ensure that our local farmers are given incentives. We don't want what has happened to just remain in the sector of rice production. We want it to go to all of the agricultural products that we have in our country, the oil palm and the rubber sector as well.
For his part, GVL Executive Vice President for Strategic Services, Elvis Morris, said his management looks forward to an improved working relationship.
I would like to say thank you to the negotiating team, the union, and those who have helped to have this collective bargaining agreement coming to an end as it is. Management of Bolivarian Liberia hopes that we can be able to use this document as a tools to make sure we can keep our company running, improve our working status with one another, make sure we can be able to have more development and have more people employed. So far, GVR is very much happy to come at the end of the road with a better understanding with the workers' union, motor worker union, workers' union of GVL to a climax and sign in documentations that will help us keep the company running as it's supposed to be. I would like to say in my own words, I hope that all parties respect what we signed today and be in the interest of all of us to have it implemented and be able to have a better future for Golden Pearl and its workers.
Let's now bring you our foreign development. Libya's former interim prime minister Mahmoud Jabril has died from the coronavirus, according to his political party. The 67-year-old contracted the virus in Egypt in late March and died at a hospital in Cairo, according to his aide. He was in power as head of the National Transitional Council during months of civil war in 2011, which led to the ousting of former long-term ruler Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Libya's internally recognized government in Tripoli offered its condolences in a statement that described Mr. Jabril as a national figure. Reported to be an astute technocrat by those he knew and worked with him, he was Libya's transitional prime minister for just 7 months and later formed his own political bloc known as the National Forces Alliance. With that from the foreign scene, let's now recap our headlines. Health authorities say Liberia now has 14 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Liberian Senate adjourns for 2-week Easter break. Liberia National Red Cross Society launches COVID-19 response with a call on Liberians to adhere to all measures to prevent further spread of the virus. And away from Liberia, Libya's former interim prime minister Mahmoud Jabril dies of coronavirus in the Egyptian capital. Well, this is how we come to the end of the program. LNTV News Live, many thanks to you all for your viewing role. Many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, technicians, switchers, and editors for making this package a success. A big thank you to Sekou Kroma and his team at Top TV in Zwedru, Grant, Jida County for relaying our broadcast. LNTV News Live comes on every Monday to Friday with the early edition at 10 to 10:30 in the morning and the late edition at 8 to 8:30 in the evening. On behalf of the entire television staff, my name is ZOQUAY KONNEH. I've been anchoring this edition. Good night from Painesville. Thanks for watching.